It's been a minute since I've done any hot pepper processing or posting of actual food items on our YouTube channel. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to do a couple of things. I got a bunch of Big Mama tomatoes. They're like a big Roma. Donated. I got these at the farmer's market. They're hot banana peppers. So we're going to do something with those. Then I've got some ferments that have been going for at least 10 months. These are Carolina Reapers, and these are Habanada. They're like a habanero pepper with no heat. And then these two are Reapers and ghost peppers that have been soaking in vodka for 9 months. I don't know what to do with those, so I'm looking for suggestions. If you've got an idea, let me know. I've got some filtered water ready to go, some jars, blenders, salt. So I'm going to put it on mode where it just kind of time lapses, and I'm going to process these tomatoes in. They're going to be used in combination with the Carolina Reapers to make what we call flamato. It's a tomato and Carolina Reaper hot sauce. It's pretty good. Normally I would use tomatoes that are the cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes, the little small ones. I've used those before, but I've also used Romas. We're going to try these Big Mama giant Roma-like tomatoes. There's a lot of meat, very little juice inside of them, so they should make a good ferment. Anyway, welcome to the Fermenting Fool channel again, and let's get started. All right, I wanted to slow this part down a little bit. Go over a couple of things in the process. So tomatoes are cut up. I've got 1.5 gallons of tomatoes in there. By weight and volume, 128 ounces, 64 ounces. If you do a 2% salt with that, you've got a little over 2 ounces of salt would need to go in here, and there's 2 tablespoons of salt per ounce. So this will need 4 tablespoons. This will need 2 tablespoons roughly. So in order to make sure that happens, the salinity of the water, you got to make sure your water is small enough so that it can fit in the jar with all that salt. So I'm going to mix 2 here, 4 here, and then I'll pour that in there and top it off with other water if I need to get more in there. Following that, I'm going to drain the hot peppers and blend them down. So that'll be the next couple of steps. Eventually I'll get to the peppers, cut them up for putting in another jar. I think I'm going to need another big jar, which I'll have to get ready. Everything here has been sterilized with a spray sanitizer that dries clean, doesn't affect drained and blended down the Carolina Reapers. Unfortunately, some of it was leaking out of the top of that blender, and I lost a little bit of it. But that stuff is majorly spicy and hot, so generally would not use it in its current form straight up like that because it's just too hot. I do have some friends who will say, "Oh, I'll try it," and when they do, we'll post videos of their reaction because that stuff majorly hot. Although the amount of time that it was in the brining and fermenting, it became very tender to the blend, and it blended really well. So I didn't have to go to my smaller blender that has a little more pureeing effect. I think it's pureed enough. Now that stuff will be used in conjunction with the tomatoes once they've fermented for probably 2 weeks to a month. Should be enough to ferment those sufficiently to get the pH below 3 and make it shelf stable. And then we'll blend down the tomatoes and do a 32 to 4 or 32 to 5 ounce type of a mixture with the Reaper sauce and then some other spices I put in there to make flamato, the flaming tomato. One of the favorite sauces we've come up with, and I always get requests for it. You got any more of that? Got any more of that? Well, I don't anymore. We used the last bottle last week, and generally I don't make a batch this big. This will make a lot, so I'll be able to give it away to friends and family. So anyway, let's move on. I'm going to, once this blender gets down to where I can get the rest of this out of there, we're going to blend down the Habanadas. I have a friend at work who can't stand heat. He likes the flavor of sauces, but no heat. And so that's why I picked up these Habanada peppers. They're a pepper that has the same kind of smell and essence as a habanero, but with no heat. So we're going to blend that down, and we're going to call it the love sauce, since it's named after him. So hopefully it comes out good. I haven't ever done that pepper before, so it's been fermenting for a while. I expect it to blend down pretty well as well. Anyway, put it on time lapse again, and we'll get started. Pause the time lapse, come back and kind of share something with you. I don't know if you can see the blender, but it's orange and red colored from the oil of those peppers. When I was pouring the rinse water down the drain, that pepper got me just from the aromatic release pouring that stuff down the drain. Just so hot. I'm going to have to use some soap and water on this to get those oils out because I don't want to get the heat from these added to this. So anyway, bear with me. Okay, so blended down those Habanadas. It's got a really good flavor just the way it is. It's such a delicate flavor. I'm curious as to whether it'd be more worth trying to add any spices to it or not. I think it might benefit from a little bit of maybe some rice vinegar. I wouldn't do an apple cider vinegar. I think that flavor would be too strong. But it definitely has a pretty nice, very mellow flavor, no heat. So once my taste testers get in here, and we'll do some taste testing with them, see what they think before I bottle it up and give it to the fellows at work to try, and we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna do some very fast time lapse, cut up these other peppers. I got to sterilize some jars and things like that, so try and get some of these peppers into a ferment real quick, and then be done for the day. The stuff that I'll bottle up later, I'll probably bottle this Habanada into some bottles later, maybe even tonight. But the tomatoes and the flamato, we'll come back and do a video of that, show you what we do there. Now I did put into the Habanada some xanthan gum to kind of congeal it and thicken it and keep it from separating. It's got a very nice, heavy, thick consistency, which may need to be thinned out a little bit depending on whether you put a dropper in the bottle or not. So anyway, moving forward. Set up. This is the brine from the reapers. Sometimes if you want, you can keep the brine, use it like you would a soy sauce or even a hot sauce. I'm sure this has got plenty of heat in it. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it yet or not to add to some recipes or something, but it might be interesting to add to some marinades for meat. We'll see. I'm still looking for suggestions. If you can think of something to do with these peppers that have been soaking in vodka, I'd be interested to hear it. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. See you next time.